Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks. So yesterday I made a video about a caterer who had been contacted by Birmingham Council and was told that the UK government were going to bring in localised lockdowns. And today it's been spotted on the UK government website, on the NHS website, that they have straight out announced that jab passports will be brought in mid-December 2021. So this is a good video to share with people who you may know who are still buying into the mainstream narrative. This clearly shows how this is planned ahead, irrespective of figures and data, just like it is everywhere else. Now, I got this from the Daily Expose website. Here we see vaccine passports are definitely coming to the UK by mid-December 2021, according to NHS COVID Pass guidelines. If you go to using the NHS COVID Pass on the NHS website, you scroll down to the bottom. It says, currently, businesses and event organisers in England that choose to use the NHS COVID Pass as a condition of entry can decide whether or not to allow in people who self-declare that they are unable to be vaccinated or tested. Businesses can continue to accept people who self-declare that they are medically exempt until mid-December 2021, from which point they have to use the NHS COVID Pass to gain entry in the same way that people who are fully vaccinated do. Your NHS COVID Pass will not show that you have a medical exemption. So at the moment, the insidious NHS COVID Pass is optional and falls on businesses to decide whether or not they wish to use it as condition of entry. If they do, people should boycott them. But here we see the NHS clearly state that businesses will no longer be able to continue to accept people who self-declare exemptions from mid-December, and that the NHS COVID Pass must be used to gain entry. Therefore, this suggests that by mid-December 2021, the UK government will write into law that the NHS COVID Pass vaccine passport must be used to gain entry to what are deemed to be non-essential shops, restaurants and entertainment venues and whatever else they deem fit. So once again, this proves, if any proof is needed, right? There really shouldn't be at this stage, is that these politicians are lying when they say they have no plans on introducing passports. They are dishonest because they are crooked and corrupt. Like I said before, when they say these things is in order to make the gullible majority of the public believe that they are not going to do it and that they don't want to do it, that maybe they are not really the bad guys after all, while all the time they have planned ahead to do it and will have an excuse planned to bring it in at that specific time, which by the looks of it here is mid-December. This is all about control over the people. This is the big one. This is probably the biggest fight of our lives. Decades of planning have been building up to this, a worldwide orchestrated oppression on the 99% of the population by the richest 1%, the billionaires, the invisible governments, the NGOs and their lackeys. Now, I believe that the UK, being one of the financial centres of the world, are watching and analysing, looking at the results of the other countries and their strategies, different strategies for different countries they are using in their attempts to create digital tyranny and segregation, bringing in these passports. As the UK government, they don't want to fail. They want to be seen as leaders. So they are probably looking at the hardline bullying strategy of the public in Australia, the zero COVID strategy of New Zealand, and are taking in all of this information and trying to adopt it to their own, to fit for the UK, to try and get it as smooth as a transition as possible. And this mid-December NHS passport declaration on the website, once again, it fits in with letting people know what they're going to do before they do it, trying to avoid bad karma, etc. You wonder why we have all this disruption, the manufactured food shortages, the manufactured petrol shortages, the manufactured Extinction Rebellion, Insulate Britain causing chaos on the roads and so on, is to keep the public in a state of confusion and bewilderment. Why we have the headline saying the other day, 60,000 could die of the flu this winter. It's all illusion to scare, to confuse, so that a majority of the public, they hope, will cave in, will give up the ghost, because they are going to start really pushing this soon, really start taking away your freedoms like never before. And they want the public to be weak mentally, so when they do it, that they cave in. But now is not a time to be weak. Now is a time to be focused and know the difference between what's right and what's wrong. And know that giving in now, just like giving in to a bully or a blackmailer, will only lead to that person exploiting you again and again and taking more and more away from you in the future. We now have an idea when these things are going to come in. These passports, these green passes, these digital enslavement apps cannot be allowed to come in, no matter where you are, what country you're in. You cannot accept this. Giving into this is ushering in hell on earth. There is no other choice but to fight against it, to say no. Mass non-compliance is all that is needed. People power, standing united. They cannot fire us all. They cannot sack us all. Now is not a time to be a coward. They are banking on you being a coward. They will try to bully people into getting these. They will threaten you with losing your job. Businesses will be bullied. They will be told you cannot operate unless you comply. People will and are being told that they will lose their jobs if they don't comply. If you say, for instance, oh well, I know, in my heart of hearts, I know this is wrong, but I have to go along with it because I've got a family to support. I have bills to pay. It's only going to get worse for you. And not only that, you will lose your self-respect because you did something you knew was wrong. You will be defeated on all levels, on a moral basis, on a financial basis. You gave away your moral responsibilities. You elected to be a slave. How will you feel then? People have the power. There is power in numbers. Everything you see and hear coming out of a TV, out of the news, every story is selected, is chosen, is fabricated to make you believe that that is not so. Everything you see and hear out of the mainstream is to paint a picture that you collectively are not in control, when the opposite is true. You are in control. The very few, the 1%, control the media. Of course they don't want to empower the 99%. That's why you see constant stories of fear projected out into the consciousness of the public, and the divisive stories to disempower the collective of society. When passports are introduced and threats are made to businesses who will be told they will not be allowed to operate, when they are made to employees saying you can't work here unless you comply, it's obvious this is inherently wrong. You cannot continue to live in this world with any kind of self-respect by going along with something that is inherently wrong, because you will become inherently wrong as well. When this happens, everyone, everywhere should just down tools. A national strike across the board. Nobody goes to work. Draw a line in the sand. What other option have you got? You believe everything's gonna be okay if you give away your freedoms? You're fooling yourself. If the cities, towns and countries grind to a halt, so be it. People everywhere should down tools until all mandates and policies are removed. They can't function without your compliance. You collectively are the power that keeps everything moving. So if you want this to stop, you just stop complying. And you do this by banding together. Humanity, the act of being humane. The qualities that make you human, such as the ability to love, compassion, and to show kindness, to be creative and not be a robot or an alien. If you want to hang on to these attributes, then humanity needs to collaborate. You need to join together and say no to a totalitarian system that is attempting to take away your humanity and freedom. As always, thanks for listening. Come and subscribe to the tribe at hugotalks.com, a place for like-minded souls who don't follow the fake stream media.